It's Halloween, the time of year where the weather becomes tolerable for a short period of time, white girls go crazy for their Starbucks, and I get mildly excited for a holiday that's intended for children. I always get really nostalgic around Halloween. There's a lot of shows, movies, songs, and so on that you only really see and hear around Halloween, so it brings me back to Halloween as a child. As a kid, I was scared of some weird things. Some examples include skeletons, early 20th century architecture, the thought of death and what comes after it, blue TV screens. Yeah, I was an odd kid. And of course, there were plenty of things in video games that I was terrified of. So I thought I'd go look back at those things that scared young me and determine just how scary they really are. I'm gonna start off simple here. The Luigi's Mansion map from Mario Kart DS. I think this one's pretty understandable. It's a spooky Halloween themed map. It's got scary music, ghosts, takes place at night. However, I wasn't scared of the mansion part of this map. No, I had no issues with this map until the second half. After you leave the mansion, you race through this muddy yard area. And in this area was the scariest thing that little me had ever seen. Trees. Yes, I was scared of the trees on this map. Specifically the trees that walked around. The fact that they had movable roots was so startling to me when I was a kid, and the sound that played was a nail in the coffin for me. I vividly remember hearing the stomping noise that plays as they walked around and turning my DS off as fast as I could. Anytime this map would come up, I'd hand the DS to my sister for her to play. Staying in the Mario theme here, I want to discuss the new Super Mario Bros. Games. I think that by the time I got a Wii, I was old enough to not really be scared of video games too often anymore, but with the DS game, there was quite a lot that freaked me out. Firstly, Bowser being burned alive. This one never really scared me as much as it did disturb me. I mean, it is pretty gruesome for a kid's game. Another thing that scared me from this game were understandably the ghost houses. The music in ghost houses is usually pretty goofy, but the DS game had some genuinely terrifying music, at least when you're a kid. The music alone always scared me, but what really got me were these things. I don't know what it was specifically about them. I don't know if it was their design, the noises they make, the fact that they can break through walls, or the mere fact that they chase you, but these scared the crap out of me. You know, looking back, this game is really disturbing for a child. However, above all else, there was one thing that scared me more than anything in this game. And that was that. In the event that I took too long to beat a level and got down to 100 seconds, this song would freak me out. Usually I'd turn the DS off at about 101 seconds so I didn't have to hear this song. I don't know if it was the fact that I was running out of time or the sound itself, but it haunted me. I'm gonna jump ship real quick and talk about a game that isn't quite as mainstream, the Toy Story 3 video game. I talked about this game in a previous video, I'll leave that video in the description if you want to check it out, but all you're really gonna know is this game is actually quite fun. In the Toy Story 3 video game, one of the big game modes was this toy box mode. You build a town, welcome in villagers, go on quests, and so on. As a kid, I loved this, but there was one thing that terrified me about it. That was Sid's house. See, as part of this game mode, you could unlock 3 new areas based on places from the movies. There was Lotso's Enchanted Glen, Zurg's Fortress, and of course, Sid's house. These areas all had unique themes as well as unique items you could only obtain by going to said areas. The only way to access these areas was to go out of your way and purchase them using the in-game currency, and they cost quite a lot. As a kid, I had no clue what I was getting myself into when I bought this. I just thought that it cost a lot of money and figured it must be cool. Upon purchasing Sid's house, this gate at the edge of town opens up, and you can access this new area. Now, right off the bat, as soon as you purchase Sid's house, the game becomes shrouded in darkness. Your town gets this dark, gloomy nighttime look which really creeped me out. What's worse is that even if you don't enter this area, sometimes enemies from Sid's house would leak through into your town and attack you. Because of this, I never felt safe in my town again. One day, me and my sister decided we'd face our fears and take on Sid's house together. We set up split screen and went in. This was terrifying to both of us as kids, even though there wasn't actually really anything scary. I think it was more the concept that scared us than anything. It is honestly a pretty cool area though. There's lots to unlock and discover here. The objective is to get a lightning rod for Rex, which is supposed to keep ghosts out. After you climb the house and obtain the lightning rod, you fall into the house and must traverse through using the lightning rod to attack ghosts. The house is very clearly modeled off of the Disney's Haunted Mansion, with the song Grim Grinning Ghosts even playing at the end. This scared me extra though because I had a crazy fear of the Haunted Mansion as a kid. This area should only take like 15 minutes to get through, but I remember it taking me and my sister at least an hour. However, with enough perseverance, we made it through the house successfully. But this was not the end. Even though we had conquered Sid's house, enemies from this area would still attack on occasion, so I was still terrified even after we beat the area. It genuinely got to a point where I was scared to play the toy box mode alone, for fear that one of these enemies would attack. I'd only play if my cousin or sister played split screen with me. Eventually, me and my sister decided to reset our save file so that we would no longer have Sid's house, and we vowed never to buy it again. By the time that I got Minecraft, I was a bit older than I was when I played through the other games, so I wasn't as scared of things back then. Things like Enderman and the Nether, I always just thought they were cool and I was never actually scared of them. But there were 3 things in Minecraft that did actually scare me. Firstly, ghasts. This was kind of my own fault. When I first got Minecraft on my Xbox, I was playing with full volume, it was just messing around, spawning in a bunch of mobs, seeing what they could do. I spawned in a ghast and it instantly started screaming, which echoed through my entire house. After that, I refused to ever spawn in a ghast again. The second thing that scared me were the creepy music discs. Like, why is this even in the game? But what really scared me in Minecraft was none other than Herobrine. I was a stupid kid. Obviously, I believed in Herobrine. I remember my older cousin showed me how to spawn Herobrine making this shrine, and I didn't believe him originally, and I built it in my world. And obviously, nothing happened. However, not long after this, I was playing Minecraft with some friends, and one of my friends told me that if you heard a cave noise, it meant Herobrine had infected your world. He also told me that if you didn't delete your world, then Herobrine would spread into your other worlds and corrupt them. So, as you can imagine, I lost a lot of pretty good worlds because of this statement. Looking back, I'm not sure if my friend was messing with me or if he also genuinely believed it. I've got another oddball inclusion here, the Doodles from Spongebob Drawn to Life on the Nintendo DS. Drawn to Life was a game series on the DS wherein you draw things to life. The name is pretty self-explanatory. There was a spin-off based around SpongeBob that I had as a kid. The spin-off is based around the Frankendoodle episode of SpongeBob where, fittingly, SpongeBob draws things to life with a magic pencil. The game revolves around this idea, with the iconic Doodlebob running loose in Bikini Bottom, and you gotta stop him. Throughout the game, you fight a couple of bosses that are, of course, all doodles, drawn by Doodlebob. They all have a very similar look to one another. They're all black and white, poorly drawn, and have a lot of ink running down them. For whatever reason though, this creeped me out as a kid, especially Doodlebob himself. Looking back, I don't really know why I was scared of this. Again, I was just scared of some weird things. I mean, it's Doodlebob. I wasn't scared of the episode itself as a kid. In fact, I loved it. There's not much more to talk about. I was scared of Doodlebob. The final thing that I want to discuss in this video is the Pokemon series. If you aren't a Pokemon fan, you probably wouldn't expect anything in this series to be scary at all. I mean, at its core, the games are about beating up birds and rats that you find in the forest with your pet dragon. Seems pretty child-friendly. But to those of you who are Pokemon fans, you know all about the creepy lore and secrets. Let's start with the most popular one, the one that scared me the most as a kid, Lavender Town Syndrome. The story goes that in the original versions of Pokemon released in Japan, the song that plays when you enter Lavender Town had such frequencies that only children can hear. Supposedly, these frequencies were so damaging that it would make the kids, how do I say this in a friendly manner? It would result in the martyrdom of the children who heard it, I'll put it that way. I don't think I ever actually really believed this, even as a kid, but still, the story creeped me out enough that I did not like listening to the song. That, and the song is also just kinda creepy, putting aside the story. The thing is though, I barely played the original Pokemon games as a kid, so I never really had to experience Lavender Town firsthand. What I did play was the Gen 5 games, and that had something pretty creepy too. Pokemon Black and White 2's Strange House always gave me some weird vibes. I think that's sort of the point. It's just that. A strange house located in the middle of nowhere. However, of course, it's haunted. You'll learn by completing the side mission here that the strange house is actually haunted with the spirit of a young girl who was accidentally killed by the Pokemon Darkrai. What's interesting is that this story is also alluded to in the first game, when you walk across this bridge. I remember seeing this girl on the bridge in the first game, and when I discovered that this was the girl from the strange house, my mind was blown. And I refuse to step foot in that house ever again. There is one more thing from the Gen 5 games that terrified me, also for Pokemon Black and White 2. At the north end of Lostlorn Forest, you'll encounter this trainer that you can speak to. After speaking to him, he'll walk away, and right before he gets away from your screen, he suddenly turns into a Zoroark, roars, and runs off. That terrified me. Looking back, it's really not scary at all, but I was not expecting it, so it really got me. There were definitely more things from video games that scared me as a kid, but I was also just scared of really dumb things, so I figure it's best I don't go too into detail. What about you? What things in games did you find scary as a kid? Did you find gaming legends, just Herobrine or Lavender Town, to be as scary as I did? Well, at least those things aren't real, right?